It's important to lead with caution at all times. It's very important for a leader to practice forbearance. It's particularly important to lead with caution when you are surrounded by mischievous people. I bring you another nugget for doing leadership right. This Monday, as our custom is, and I will be speaking on what I have titled Go and Sin No More. Go and sin no more. And anyone, who has some, basic familiarity with the Bible will recall that story of a woman who was said to have been caught in adultery. So you had this gang of people celebrating, what they thought was a major victory for them, trying to prove themselves, to be people who live above board, people who watch over, all right, the values of society, the values maybe of an organization, who are protectors of the values, of a community. And they rushed this woman, this transgressor, if you like, this uh, rebel, all right, if you like, in an organizational context, they rushed her to the leader, all right, so that they could showcase her as one who violated, all right, the principles of the team. And what they were actually expecting, they were playing games. What they were expecting was haven't showed her to have been caught in the very act, all right. They then prescribed what the law said, just as some of us will do in our organizations. And they said, look, the law says when we catch people like this, we should not let them go. We should stone them until they die. And, here was the leader. Here was someone who was supposed to be the custodian of the laws, who was supposed to, protect the rules, the policies, the procedures of the organization. And they wanted to see what he was going to say. In actual fact, they knew that he had a different heart, and that he might treat things differently. But really, what they wanted was for him to prescribe something that was contrary, all right, to what the policy said, what was written. They were setting a trap for him. There were mischievous people, all right, who were after the downfall of the leader. And there are people like that in our organizations. There are people like that in your organizations. You may have come across to them, if you have any appreciable amount of experience, in leadership. And there are people who just want to humiliate the leader, who want to project the leader as inadequate, who may even be gunning for the seat of the leader. And they tend to do things like this. So when you're surrounded by mischievous people such as this, you need to exercise caution as a leader. All right. You need to be careful. You need to watch. You need to exercise restraint and not just jump, all right, into the fray, thereby falling into their trap. You need to exercise caution. You need to exercise great caution. And that's the nugget for today. When you are surrounded by mischievous people, you must exercise caution. And let's examine, what did this leader do? Jesus, by the way. And they said, well, okay, yes, we caught this person, so there's a violation of policy. It's a very, serious case. And then he turned around and didn't talk about the policy at all. He didn't address the policy. He knew what they were saying was right. Yes, it was written. Yes, the policy said should be done about people like that. Yes, that's true. But then what he addressed was the hypocrisy of the people, was the real thing that was motivating the people themselves to misbehave. Misbehavior there means setting a trap for their leader. I mean, why would you want to set a trap for your leader? All right, that's not a good behavior. But he saw that these mischievous people were basically hypocrites. And so he turned the tables against them. And he said to them, okay, let's do it this way. I agree with you, and I'm paraphrasing here. I agree with you that what you have said is great. Okay. But he then said to them, okay, but now let's look at it. Whoever among you, all right, has not violated any policy at all. He didn't even refer to how serious the policy was. He said, if you have not violated any policy, then be the first to apply the sanction. In that case, to stone the person to death. Be the first. Be my guest. Go ahead and do it. So he didn't say they shouldn't implement the policy. He was in favor of the policy. They could not hold him. He didn't fall for their trap. He was too smart because he was cautionary. All right. And he turned the things against them and said, but let's find out. I don't know about you, but yes, we can do what you're suggesting only if, you also are not found wanting. Only if you also aren't found wanting. And that was pretty interesting. So you want to know what transpired? Well, every one of them began to drop their stones, to turn back, to disappear from the scene. And every single person who was a part of that gang, each of those mischievous hypocrites, disappeared. All the while, the leader bent down, pretended as if he was writing something, giving them room to really think about what they wanted to do. All right. And then, he stood up and looked around and wondered, asking the culprit, the person who, they were going to stone to death. So, isn't there anyone that condemns you again? Well, she said, no one. I mean, nobody is here. And then he said to her, go and sin no more. Go and sin no more. A lot of lessons for leaders in this, encounter, in this story. Huge lessons. But I want to say to you, lead with caution. Lead with caution. In particular, when you have team members gang up against one particular person or a particular set of people. All right. When they are not asking you to reward somebody, if they gang up to reward, asking you to reward somebody, that's great. But people never do that. When they are ganging up for you to punish somebody who they supposedly found violating, all right, the rules of the company, the rules of the organization, policies or processes, exercise caution. Exercise caution. They are up to no good. They are up to something. It's all mischief. And the leader must be smart enough not to fall into such traps. Don't allow members of your team who are cantankerous, who are mischievous, all right, who are seeking ways to undermine you. All right, don't allow them to succeed. How? By exercising caution, by not reacting spontaneously when they bring issues before you, by taking the time to think, and more importantly, by flipping the script against them. How do you feel the script, flip the script against them? Usually people who do that are hypocrites. All right. Now place a challenge before them to prove that they are authentic. that what they are clamoring, all right, for the person that have been brought forward, they are not guilty of in the first instance. That's something that no hypocrite can stand. When you turn the tables against them, they come, crashing like a pack of cards. That's what happened to those fellows. Hypocrites, all of them, all right, who apparently judge themselves ultimately because the leader did the needful, pulled out a joker. All right. They judge themselves because why would you run away? You ran away because you knew that you had done something. Also, like the woman that you are bringing forward, and somehow you escaped punishment for it. That's why, it was their conscience that got the better of them. And that was because the leader was a lot smarter than them. That's it on Leadership Monday. Think about it. All right. This would empower you. It can save your leadership. It can save your leadership, preventing you from falling into the trap. All right. That mischievous members of your team may set for you. And in case you are wondering, oh, yes, members of your team can be up to mischief and they can take steps all aimed, at bringing your downfall. But as a good leader, as a true and tested leader, you must prove that you are better, that you are smarter, that you understand this game, that you know how to do leadership right. And that's what we focus on, here on Leadership Monday, and also on Leadership in 30 Minutes, which comes to you every Thursday, all by Emmet Leadership Academy, where leaders are nurtured based on truth. That's it for today. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And, share this with your friends, invite them. If this has benefited you today, well, I guess you owe a responsibility or perhaps an obligation, to share with others so that they can be blessed, that they can be empowered to do leadership right as well. That's it on Leadership Monday today. My name remains Olatunji Shobodu, and I want to thank everyone who has joined the broadcast this morning, and thank you for your kind words. Let's meet again on Thursday by the grace of God, when it's going to be Leadership in 30 Minutes. Leadership in 30 Minutes. And I'll be speaking on something, what you must know about your leader. What you must know about your leader. What you must know about your leader. All right, make it a date. It promises to be interesting. All right. Enjoy a wonderful week, by the way, and do everything to ensure that you do leadership right. That you do leadership right. It's not enough to criticize leaders. All right. It's not enough to point accusing fingers. Why not build the capacity to be a leader yourself? All right. So that instead of complaining about others, in your own space and sphere of influence, you show how leadership should be done. All right. That's what we're about here, teaching and nurturing leaders to do leadership right. Till Thursday then, God bless you and bye-bye.